In three, two. All right, it's time to talk with our featured guest, Alison. Hey, Alison. So, talk to us. Tell me one or a couple tactics, strategies, or thoughts we can do with Google Ads that can definitely help other practice owners out if we were to implement it today.
You've got it. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And today I'm just going to share a quick 5 steps to setting up and running a successful Google Ads campaign. So, first things first is you want to enter any PPC campaign with a plan. It's really great if you know your practice needs an increase in new patients, but we really want to set SMART goals here. We want those goals to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and tied to a time period. So a good goal would be, I want to increase from 10 new patients a month to 20 new patients a month by the end of 2022. That's a SMART goal. So from there, then what you can do is dive more into the resources that Google provides you. And what I mean by that is digging in to Google and coming up with an appropriate quote. Essentially, how much budget are you going to need to allocate to PPC if you want those additional 10 patients to come all from PPC? So you want to look at, the top keywords, average cost per click in your target market. And kind of speaking of your target market, you want to understand your local target market. This is really important to understand what services people are looking for, the demographics in your market, age, income, race, ethnicity, how far they travel to see a dentist. So you can really understand, where should you run these ads? What is it that your demographic cares about the most? So you can make sure your campaign is set up well from the beginning. The other thing you may want to take a peek at is your competition in the market. Anybody who is running PPC, maybe see how they're doing it. Also understanding who are the bigger players in your market, who markets heavily, not only online, but who's sending out mailers, who is really active in the community, and kind of better understand what their messaging is so that your messaging can stand out and we can have kind of your USP or your unique selling position in your ads and on anywhere that your clicks go to.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the fourth?
So then what I would do is make sure you're setting up your tracking correctly. Using Google Analytics, you want to set up conversion tracking so you can understand when people or how many people are taking an action you want them to take. So that could be a click on a phone number, a form submission, a click on an online scheduling link. And that kind of gives you a bird's eye view of how the campaign is performing. But then from there, you can get really granular and see how many people called, how many of those calls were new patient opportunities, how many people got scheduled from those phone calls. And that helps you track your success, track back your ROI from the campaign, make sure that this spend is producing new patients for you factually, transparently, and you know absolutely what you're getting for your investment. I would say the next thing is you have to tell your team that you're running this campaign. That's an often overlooked part of any marketing, really, but especially if you're putting out an offer, make sure your team is aware that people are going to ask about this offer and that they are prepared to talk about any disclaimers that go with the offer, and that they have kind of their sales hat on, because PPC patients can be a little bit more difficult to convert than those that come from, let's say, organic search or organically from your website or a patient referral.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I like that part where you want to tell the team about the offer, because a lot of the times they might be like, "What are you talking about?" Right?
Yeah, it's like we're not running a free whitening special.
They shoot themselves in the foot. I want to rewind a little bit. You said you want to enter with the plan, set SMART goals, and I love how you gave examples. Now, what's unreasonable here where it's like, okay, Allison, 100 new patients. That's what I need. I need 100 new patients a month. And they're like barely starting out. Is that okay or no?
So when kind of a doctor, especially a startup, tells me that big of an aggressive goal, I will be very honest and say you're going to need various marketing strategies. We cannot, probably not, rely solely on PPC unless you have all the budget in the world and kind of all the time in the world to pay for those impressions and clicks and making sure that the call conversion from your team is high enough. So we definitely want to make sure, if we go back and look at the acronym of SMART, one of them is reasonable. Is the goal reasonable within the time frame that you're establishing?
Got you. So SMART goals is actually like an acronym, right? It's not just
Yeah.
like, hey, sets aren't Michael be smart. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's an acronym. What does the acronym stand for again?
Specific, measurable, attainable. R is oh my goodness,
Reasonable, I think, right? You said.
reasonable,
Uh-huh.
and then time sensitive. So you have a deadline on it as well.
Okay, I think that's smart. Time sensitive is to what's a too short of amount of a time period? You know how like you get those. I mean, I'm sure I'm this way where I'm like, I need it now. But
Yeah.
what would be reasonable for that?
Yeah, so we tell people setting up a Google Ads campaign, bare minimum that you want to run this is 3 months. It will take time to get your campaign fully optimized and learn how your market is searching, which keywords are performing better, which ad copy is performing better, and um, there's definitely some testing involved and some revision and rinse and repeating. So I would say, bare minimum, run it for 3 months. Some practices do start to see pretty good results right out of the gate, but there are a couple of, I would say, tips that I would encourage those people to do, and one of which would be a very enticing offer.
What would be, in your experience, what has been for like a general practice, right? Not a special one. What would be like enticing offers for them?
Yes. So depending on the type of practice, one of the offers that we can do is a discounted new patient exam cleaning
Mm.
x-rays, right? The other one is some sort of free take-home whitening. And anytime you can list the real full value of what you're giving away is much better than just saying free whitening, right? So you want to make sure you're saying free whitening up to $150 value. So they understand, oh, I'm going to get this pretty expensive thing for free. One of the other things that we've started to see be pretty successful is if a practice has an in-house dental plan, and we're in maybe a community where dental insurance isn't part of people's benefit of people's jobs. Marketing that dental plan by explaining very quickly, you can get comprehensive dental care for as low as $34 a month. Those are the types of concerns that patients have. So if you can alleviate that right from the get-go, it's good news.
Yeah, and I think that goes really well with your second point, where you want to come up with an appropriate quote. You want to understand like the local market. You said right, and that takes time to understand. I mean, you're not just gonna open up and be like, I get it all. Um, you also mentioned, I know, when coming up with the appropriate quote, look at the top keywords. Where can we find that?
Yeah, so Google has a keyword planning tool that you can understand the competitiveness of the keyword, how hard it is to basically either rank organically or how expensive the keyword would be. There's also another tool that you can utilize from Google that shows you kind of search trends for specific topics over time. So if you, let's say, are thinking about running a cosmetic dentistry campaign, it's probably worth looking at the search trends as well to see, is there enough people looking for this? Do enough people care about this? Are there maybe seasonal peaks and valleys that you may want to run at the peaks and maybe switch topics and valleys?
Gotcha. Okay. That's really, really good. And then that also falls into place with the competition, right? I mean, why reinvent the wheel when you can just like, you know what I mean? Like not copy it, but like see what they're doing in the operation side. And then like, let me ask you, I feel like, I mean, from doing this a lot, looking at the competition and everything, what is like one or two of the most common mistakes you're seeing today? Like a lot of people are doing, and you're like, Tom, we need to stop.
Yes. So one would be not utilizing a landing page. We want to keep the focus of these potential patients pretty narrow. And this is a direct response form of marketing. So we want to send them to a landing page that helps them make that decision quickly. We don't really want to send clicks to, a homepage of a website or even an appropriate services page on the website. It's a website is a different medium. It has a different purpose
Mhm.
than a landing page. I think the other mistake that people make a lot is setting it and forgetting it. No part of marketing is just turn it on, cross your fingers, let it roll. There's a lot of data involved, especially with PPC. So understanding the data, tweaking your campaign based on the data and the results on an ongoing basis is crucial to having this campaign be successful long term.
Yeah. I think that's why they need a, you know what I mean? Like a lot of, I think at the beginning, it's nice, especially when you have more time. If you're like a startup or something, it feels like you can kind of do this on your own. But unless like you kind of start delegating it, or somebody in house or like a company, right? Like Golden Proportions or something, then it's kind of gonna be hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It can be very time intensive. And if you're not a data person, it can feel very overwhelming and confusing understanding what all of the tech terms mean and what results you're actually getting. Because I mean, Google does a great job at listing things like cost per conversion, but what we really want to focus on in terms of a successful PPC campaign is patients in the practice, bodies in the door. So using the Google tracking is great. Digging deep into the data is even better.
Yeah, that's true. I always feel like impressions impress me, but then I'm like, how many cheeks and seats did we see? Like, where's the butts
Got
and
it.
chairs? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I 100% agree with that. Awesome, Allison. Okay, so I appreciate your time. And if anyone has further questions, you can definitely find her in the Dental Marketer Society Facebook group, or where can they reach out to you directly?
Yes. So you can either contact us. I work for Golden Proportions Marketing, and our website is goldenproportionsmarketing.com. Or I absolutely welcome people to email me directly. My email is Alison, ALISON, at goldenproportions.com.
Awesome. So, guys, that's all, as always, going to be in the show notes below. So, definitely go in the show notes below and ask any questions or concerns that you have for Allison. You can do so there. So, Allison, thank you so much for being with me on this Monday morning marketing episode.
Absolutely, Michael. I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for talking to me today.